for, so.
Well, you know. It's close.
You could call it.
It's after 5, Bell.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's that friggin'
That
clock.
what's wrong with the clock?
3 minutes fast.
It's wrong. He's using Verizon time.
10 more seconds. 8, 7,
Oh,
6.
You gotta love a good
Am
countdown.
I supposed to be swearing someone in, or is this, I already did this?
It's 5 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. Ted, will you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. I'll make a motion to approve the June 10th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And now we have the town manager report.
You forgot the announcements.
Oh, for goodness sake. You've heard it all before.
You know.
All right, so the select board will meet on the following dates at 5 p.m. on Monday, July 8th, 24, ooh, retro. And then Monday, July 22nd, 2024. And citizens wishing to be listed on the select board's agenda should notify the town hall before noon, the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. All meetings will be held upstairs in the town hall and will be held via Zoom. Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouthnh.gov. And now the chairman's comments.
Nick Raymond's swearing in will take place on July 8th. That was rescheduled.
Okay. And your report, Scott.
Sure. Solar array updates, some additional updates over the past 2 weeks. The racking for the solar array was delivered on May 30th. Modules were delivered on June 3rd. The rack post and racking installation started on June 10th. And I worked with Colin McIver to agree to mow and trim the solar array. Should only have to be done twice a year in accordance with Barrington Power of what they're stating. So thank you to Colin for stepping up and agreeing to take that on. The PSNH mediation hearing, DTC attorneys have been negotiating with Public Service New Hampshire based on our last non-public session. We are in hopes that we'll have a final amount due by the end of June. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have a message back from the attorneys. Cooling stations, due to the extreme heat, the town opened a cooling station at Peace Public Library on Tuesday, June 18th, Wednesday, June 19th, and Thursday, June 20th. Thank you to Chief Morrison and Deputy Chief Pierce for arranging that at Peace Public Library.
Do we have anybody take advantage of it?
We did. On Wednesday, they had 6 people. But Tuesday and Thursday, from what I understand, talking to Becky, there wasn't anybody that showed up. But in addition to that, Ladders, Sue Gel, opened up an area down there for overflow in the event that we needed additional space. The union contract, I received an email from Jerry Mills, who is the New Hampshire coordinator for Ask Me, Council 93. The fire department has proposed modification of the Ask Me Council 93 Local 3380 Police and Fire Bargaining Unit. The firefighters want to separate and form their own bargaining unit with the Professional Firefighters of New Hampshire, and then look to affiliate with the International Association of Firefighters later. Both unions solely represent firefighters. There was a union meeting on June 4th. This was approved by the union unanimously, and I'm here just to make you aware of this information, and I will approve this modification and send the paperwork back to Jerry Mills, noting that we will have the local union, Council 93, and then we'll have a firefighters union through the Professional Firefighters of New Hampshire. So we'll negotiate both contracts, hopefully at the same time, when we start either early August or late July. PBTV analytics update. Dan, do you want to provide an update on the analytics that we have for PBTV in YouTube?
Sorry, Scott, I was walking out when you were saying that. What would you like, all of it, or?
If you can summarize both the YouTube and the PBTV?
Yep. I can also do the newsletter as well. I have that in front of me. So, looking back at the time frame of October 1st till today, in coordination with the website, just so everything's balanced, our YouTube channels, we're looking at just under 53,000 views. Of that, watch time is 7.3 thousand hours, and we've gained 251 subscribers during that time, to total 1,630 subscribers to our channel. That's only going to help once with this new budget that's going to start on Monday next week, going live with our digital channels, of having the community bulletin board and all of our content, not just the original content that we produce, available to the public outside of the catch area with the cable boxes. So anyone can now watch our channels, hopefully as of next Monday. We're working through that right now, and see everything that we have on our channels through our YouTube page, which will link over to the town website. With that, also, with the town website, going back again, October 1st, kind of when we started the page, we are looking at a total of 27,000 viewers to the new website with Revise as our host provider. Currently, in the last 30 minutes, there's been 8. I can see that in real time. So that's great. Still some 404 errors, but that's just all Google Analytics and search engines picking up the old websites, which I've been still going through. I haven't found any faulty links in the last couple of weeks. Anything that has come through has been changed from note. I know Joseph had an issue with a link last week that he worked with Jonathan on. But overall, it's everyone looking at the homepage and looking at the staff directory to find out who to contact. That is 95% of our traffic. No one's really diving deeper. They're getting their information from there. So that's just something we look at, of how we lay out those quick links on the pages, and what we can with the template that we have for people to see. And then lastly, with the newsletter, we fixed that issue where people were having the newsletter go to their junk mail. It was for some reason, our website got de-verified with our account on MailChimp, so we had to go through the whole process again. So that's why it was going to their junk mail. Since then, the click rates have been up 24%. Opening rates are up nearly 70% from when it's been sent out. And we're at a total of 401 subscribers, but some of them don't want to receive it. They just have their email in there. As the recipients have been pretty steady, about 380 every single week that receive the newsletter. The highest one was this past week, 382. Before that, the next 3 weeks were 380 and 379. So we're hovering around, getting closer to 400 that see the newsletter every single week. And with a nearly 7% open rate, we're getting the information out there.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So as Scott has said, we're trying to be transparent, but we're doing everything we can to put the information out there for the people. It's up for them to now click on it and open it up. Any questions?
Sounds great.
Awesome. You're welcome.
New Hebron Road construction. The Town of Plymouth Highway Department is notifying the public that road construction will begin on Monday, today, June 24th. Signed packages from Ambrose Construction are in place today. There possibly will be lane closures, and this is a 6 to 8 week project. Janitorial and IT services RFPs. We are currently working on 2 RFPs to be sent out for janitorial and IT services. We received notice of a substantial cost increase in janitorial services from our current vendor. And with that being said, I believe it's in the best interest of the town to seek proposals. The town's IT services contract with Certified Computer Services expires in January of 2025. We will be putting out an RFP for that, and Ted has offered his assistance in the preparation of the RFP. Hunt Road East Culvert progress. I've worked with Attorney Radigan and the Bridgewater Town Attorney on a draft agreement. Bridgewater shall permit Plymouth to construct, maintain the improvements that are located within the town of Bridgewater on the culvert. I am just waiting to hear back from Bridgewater that the agreement is acceptable to Bridgewater, and then we'll bring to the select board as a memorandum of understanding to sign that agreement, and then we will search for funding through grants for the replacement of that culvert.
Scott, this is about as close as we've ever been.
And from what I understand, they've signed it, the attorney just hasn't sent it to us, so I think we're in a good place right now with that culvert.
Great.
Just like a 10-year.
Yeah. 10-year plan.
It's been since 2005.
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot of
Closer to
years.
20.
So hopefully we're in a good place with getting that fixed for the residents that reside beyond that culvert area in the town of Plymouth. Primex mandatory training. During our consultation, loss review with Primex, we identified 2 areas for training. We will hold slip, trip, and fall training, as well as harassment and discrimination training on July 19th, 31st, and August 2nd. Additionally, we'll be updating our harassment discrimination policy to meet current state and federal statutes. You have this in front of you tonight for approval. On vacation, I'll be away on vacation from Saturday, June 29th through Wednesday, July 10th. Job posting, Finance and Human Resource Assistant. We have received a number of cover letters and resumes. We started interviewing and did interview on June 18th and 19th, and currently we have a conditional offer of employment out. Waiting for that to be signed and come back with a hopeful start date of this person by the end of July. Plymouth State University updates. I presented at the Plymouth State University freshman orientation on June 17th. I provided a welcome to Plymouth and being a responsible community member. Just a reminder, the Silver Hall parking lots are available for downtown parking, May 15th through August 21st. Downtown drainage project update. As you can see, other than the work that we discussed at the last meeting, the sidewalks on the west side of South Main Street have been paved. And today, the sidewalks on the east side were pulled up. The good news is the granite curbing will go in on the east side on Thursday, with paving of those sidewalks next week at some point, depending on the weather. So South Main Street will be pretty much wrapped up, other than the final pavement. Russell Street and Warren Street will be completely finished by the end of the second week in July. So the town's portion of the project will be wrapped up, and then they'll move north from Highland Street to the Rotary. But we'll have South Main Street pretty much wrapped up by the second week of July without any question. Those are the updates that I have in my report for this week.
Any questions? Or in that case, we have an appointment. Molly McCann is applying for an alternate member position on the planning board. And
Her letter is,
yeah, it's the second page. So she sent a letter into us, and she states that I am writing to convey my interest in serving on the town of Plymouth Planning Board. My desire is to see Plymouth continue to flourish and improve. I hold a master's degree in landscape architecture from Ohio State University, which has prepared me to think about future possibilities for communities at multiple spatial and temporal scales. I am well-versed in the processes of development and planning thanks to both my education and my work as a designer. As a member of the Planning Board, I would bring my expertise to bear on the various projects and programs on which the board works, always in service to the people of the town. Plymouth has been my home for a majority of my 32 years. I am a graduate of PES, PRHS, and the University of New Hampshire. I left New Hampshire to live in Montana, Colorado, and Ohio, coming back to Plymouth in 2022. Plymouth is the place and the people that have supported me for my whole life. I believe the best way for me to show my gratitude is to help us plan for our collective future, where we can continue to be a place where people can find home. Thank you for your consideration, Molly McCann. Is there
I'll
a
make a
motion?
motion to appoint Molly McCann as an alternate member to the Plymouth Planning Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Did you get it?
You got it, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Are we taking notes for Ann later on, or?
I will.
Okay. In that, what's that? In that case, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. And Molly's appointed.
Molly was in today and spent 2.5 hours with Joseph discussing the roles and responsibilities of a planning board member. He provided her with several pieces of information and resources, but was very excited to get started in that role. I think she'll be a great addition to the planning board.
I'm sure she will. And also, I've been watching the planning board meetings, and for the amount of input that she provided and her perspective on things, I think it's going to work out well. So I'm very pleased.
I think you have the appointment in your signature file
Probably
to
do.
sign.
Okay, we have a new purchase order. We got the PD, also fire department and highway, but which one are we doing, the fire department, or?
We'll do the police department first.
Okay.
I think that's the first one you have in front of you.
Yep.
This is for the purchase of a new police cruiser, which was included in the 24-25 CIP plan. Also was Article 17 on the 24 warrant that was approved in March. This purchase is for the new cruiser and equipping the cruiser for a total of $63,632.81. There was $65,000 appropriated in the CIP and in the warrant article. This is all state bid for the purchase of the vehicle and the equipment.
And it looks like you've gotten at least maybe two or three bids on this, or?
State.
State bid.
State bid.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the new Dodge Durango police vehicle and related equipment for a sum total of $63,632.81 from the state bid.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Is this an additional vehicle, or is it going to replace a vehicle?
It will replace a vehicle, and one will be taken offline.
And that one's not being turned in? We're going to keep that one? The one that's being replaced?
Possibly. We might keep that
It's
vehicle.
not part of the deal, though.
No, it's not. No, it's not. There is no trade-in value on it.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Superliner.
Next, fire department, a specialty vehicle, from Specialty Vehicle, Inc., lease of 2026 Ford F-550.
I think Chief Morrison and Deputy Pierce are going to go through the purchase order and the bid process, or the bids that they received.
Good evening.
Okay.
So this is a request, this is in line with the capital improvement program. This replaces our 2015 ambulance. Deputy Chief Pierce and Captain Tobine and Captain Peck have been the ambulance committee for the last 12 months researching this. And I'm confident that they've come up with the best alternative for the community. And Deputy can summarize the work that they did.
Good evening. So SVA Lifeline, we chose for several reasons. This has been going on for over a year now. We've had like everything else, we've had a problem with Ford chassis obtaining them. They're back ordered, they're finally starting to catch up, so it's looking more promising. Some of the other manufacturers are 2.5 years out. SVI is 2 years out. Lifeline's a good box. This will be a third ambulance, and they hold up best, we found, so we've tried to stay with them. We have a really good working relationship with the rep. One thing I want to note in the price is the rep does this, and we haven't seen this with any other ambulance companies. They put a $25,000 buffer in there. The buffer is for the chassis because we don't know if the prices skyrocket. Their commercial chassis, like everything, they go up. The price we pay for the other two manufacturers does not include that buffer. So in the contract, it says we will be responsible if the price increases between now. Now, if we obtain that ambulance at that price and and it doesn't go up anymore, the town gets that $25,000 back. So it's more of a safety net, so we don't have to come in front of the town and reappropriate that money. That you just never know. The Ford chassis are the #1 in the industry. They're just, everybody wants them, so it's very hard to obtain them. Right now, if we order, lock in today, we're looking at 2 years out. Some other things to mention is, again, I mentioned the consistency with them. They have a long trail of being dependable, but also our previous two ambulances and one that we are going to maintain, the 2000, I believe it's 18-19 that we have on duty right now. That one will also pretty much match this new one. So that's really important for our personnel to be able to jump in either rig and it'll be identical. There's other things that slightly differ, but for the most part, that's the big thing. The cheapest price you saw on their road rescue, they were disqualified, I said in my letter, because when they sent our quote out, it doesn't include a 4x4 ambulance. They only included a 2-wheel drive, which maybe that was an accident on their part. That explains why the price is so much different. And just to give you an idea, in 2018, or August of last year, we obtained a quote for $356, and I asked for an updated quote because I was preparing this package for you, and it's already gone up $30,000 in a year. So it gives you how volatile that market is. Gives you an idea of that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chief.
I was just going to say, we're having to, and maybe I've said this before, but we're having to look at that lead time as we make adjustments to the CIP. 2 years, that ambulance that we're trading in is going to be 10 years old. That's not prudent. And the same with the engines. Those are 30 months to 3 years. So we're having to look at that when we adjust the CIP.
We try to maintain a 7-year replacement plan. And what we find is after 7 years, the ambulance will start having significant issues, mechanical issues, and our mechanical line goes up because it's just, they're beat on our backcountry roads, So we also, carry heavy-duty equipment in them, so we're not able to utilize what other private ambulance companies use because we carry Jaws of Life, all that stuff in our ambulances. So it's heavy. It beats those boxes. Scott, I'm sorry, were you going to add something?
I think the thing to note is there currently is $120,000 in capital reserve for the replacement of this ambulance. The cost that's in the CIP is about $105,000 a year for 4 years. We'll be able to drop that down to just about $70,000 a year. We've reached out for financing through Franklin Savings Bank, which we were successful with the fire engine that we just purchased, as well as the dump truck that will be purchased once we get the paperwork from Franklin Savings Bank. So right now, we don't have the financing in place, but in accordance with what Franklin Savings Bank has told us, is that they're willing to take this on as they have with the other vehicles. So we should have that by the end of the week. But overall, it's going to be less than the anticipated original cost that we thought of when the CIP was put together. So that's where we are from a financial perspective. But again, we'll go on the warrant for whatever that cost is, between 67 and 70,000. Keeping in mind that if we enter into a lease purchase, we have to use that 120 in capital reserve for the last payment. We can't use it for the first payment or spread it out between. So those other three payments will be much less than what we anticipated in the original CIP.
That's a DRA rule,
Yes,
that last payment?
yeah. If we bought it outright, we could use the 120,000 for the first payment, but where it's a lease purchase, until you purchase that vehicle, you have to use it as the last payment.
Yeah.
Any questions or any motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 2026 Ford F-550 4x4 custom-built Lifeline ambulance from Specialty Vehicle, Inc. for $387,859.00.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you. Scott, you need anything else from us
Nope.
tonight? I didn't see anything. Okay.
We're good.
And next is the Highway Department.
Yep, so you have a purchase order in front of you for the 24-25 budget, taking effect after July 1st, for 250 basins cleanings, as well as 15 hours of pipe jetting services. Joe did go out to bid on this. He received 3 quotes. We have traditionally done work with Bellamore over the last several years, and Joe feels this is the best quote that we received. There currently is $25,000 in the 24-25 budget approved at town meeting in March for this service to be completed after July 1st.
Okay.
So what were the other quotes for?
The other quotes, there was a quote from Wind River Environmental at $80 per catch basin and an hourly rate of $285. And then Avery Industrial Services was a quote of $230 per hour. But keeping in mind, that did not include any travel time for them. The other 2 included travel time, and whereas Joe has done work with Bellamore in the past, he felt the quality of their work and their service was great in comparison to Wind River Environmental of additional cost in Avery Industrial as $230 an hour, but did not include any travel cost, of which they do charge.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Highway Department request for cleaning of 250 catch basins and pipe jetting services for $20,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And just noting, this is in the 24-25 budget that this will come out of.
Old business. Approve the warrant for unlicensed dogs submitted by the town clerk.
Thank you for having me. So pursuant to RSA 46614, your people have to register their dogs by April 30th. We have sent out postcards. We sent out postcards in December. We have it posted on our website. We personally reached out to every resident that had an accurate telephone number in the system. If they had an email in the system, they received 2 emails, one from our generic mass email and one from me individually. So we've done a lot of things to reach out to residents so that they don't have to pay the $25 fee. We've so far registered 557 dogs for the year and made about $3,000 in revenue for the town in dog licensing. So this is something that we're required to do by law. So I just need the select board to.
Do you know how many unlicensed dogs are running around?
There's about 90 on the list that I have so far. That all,
You
92 letters.
Able to make contact with the owners?
So I have personally reached out to every single person. I have given them multiple opportunities to register their dogs with the notices. Melinda and I both called everybody if they had an accurate telephone number, if they had an email. Again, we sent a mass email, and I personally sent one from the town clerk's office to everyone that had an active email. So we've done our due diligence to get as many dogs registered as possible, and now by law we have to.
Really doesn't
send
cost that much to register your
No,
dog.
it's
Especially if you're old.
between $2 and $9 or
Yeah.
$20 if you have a group. So I always hate to charge someone $25, but the law says I have to, so I'm following the law.
The law says you have to charge 25 or a fee.
No, a fee of $25 is what the town charges. Yep.
Is there a better response than previous years, or?
I really don't know, because this is my first year going through the dog licensing process as the clerk. But I felt it was important to personally reach out if they had an accurate phone number or an email, so that I could avoid charging someone a fee.
I'm assuming all your efforts aren't required, right? I mean, everything you do.
Correct. I'm required to send a postcard and to post it on our website. So I've gone above and beyond to try to get these people in. And some people, when I sent the personal email, they're like, "Oh, that dog passed away." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but if your dog passed away and you don't call us, we don't know, so we're gonna send you a letter. That's what I got.
So this warrant will go out to those people that have not responded from
Correct.
multiple ways that you reached out to them.
Correct.
Did you put that on the town website?
Yes. Yep.
Amy has followed the RSA right to the T and gone above and beyond on due diligence of making sure these unregistered dog owners have been notified. So I think it's appropriate as you move forward with the warrant to sign and approve Amy to move forward.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the warrant for unlicensed dogs.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Wait a minute, I have a question. Have you ever talked with the vet to find out if any dogs have died that?
So, we don't personally reach out to the vet. If someone has an outdated rabies, we'll call the vet if they're in our office to get the updated rabies information for the resident. But we don't call them to say, "Hey, can you tell me who died?" Because we've done a lot of other steps to try to get them to register their dog. So at some point, the ownership has to become the resident's ownership to contact us.
Vet, would you call?
Right, because there's 8 million.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vets in town, so.
I mean, with the workload that Amy and Melinda have, that's asking a little bit too much for them to reach out to the veterinarian clinics to see if a dog has passed. I think they've done exactly what the law requires and have gone above that, but with their workload, based on the reports that I see from Amy on everything they do, I think this is the appropriate action that she's taken to make sure that the owners are notified.
Very good.
Thank you.
So, did we vote on that? We haven't voted on it.
We haven't voted.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
All right.
I was
thank-
just curious, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've gone above and beyond what we need to do by law, so.
You know, it seems to
Did
me
you
that.
put an airplane going by
Yeah, I
with the
know
thing
what
behind?
the
Yeah, with a banner
signs,
on.
signals, come
Did you
register
offer to
your
walk the dog?
Bring along.
It seems to me that most people are attached to their dogs, and their dogs mean a lot to them. And
Correct.
Thank
you, Amy.
You should have taken up 2 lines.
Is that sound here?
Yeah.
I can push it down a little bit.
All right, encumbrance requests for FY 23-24.
Wait a minute, you skipped the,
Should have harassment policy.
Oh. Don't harass me on this.
Zach wouldn't have done that.
So the harassment policy you have in front of you tonight, I sent out to you 10 days ago to take a look at. As we went through our personnel policy and discussed our harassment discrimination policy as well as our training with Primex and specifically with their employment attorney, Mike Ricker, as well as our attorneys from John Radigan's office, our policy was out of date and didn't meet some of the state and federal regulations that guide the Civil Rights Acts. So this is a policy that was written by Primex that they recommend for all of their members for harassment and discrimination, as well as it has gone through the approval process through John Radigan's office. So with that said, I would ask you to approve the new harassment policy tonight, so that when we do have the training in July and August, that the employees will be trained to the new harassment policy in accordance with the personnel policy for the town of Plymouth.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the new harassment policy.
A second.
any discussion? It's pretty clear. I was able to quickly read
Clear.
through it, so. Any further discussion, or is that it? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Now the encumbrance.
No, review and accept unanticipated funds. No, I'm only kidding. So, an encumbrance request for FY 23-24.
So with regards to the encumbrance, just a little background of where we are today. The current fund balance has $325,000 in it. And if you recall, last June, we implemented a fund balance policy. And the recommendations from Department of Revenue Administration is that the town has 5 to 17% of the total operating cost in their fund balance. We were far below that and have been far below that. So when we started the current operating budget this year for 22-23, I really looked carefully at it and really worked with department heads to control any spending that didn't need to be spent. So with that said, the current budget balance is $2,863,555 as of June 12th. You minus out the capital, which is committed for the future, of $1,019,807.78, which leaves us a balance of $1,843,747.22. And working with Ann and looking at the estimated payments from now through the end of June, we're estimating about $700,000 in payment. We're looking at, we went through a process with the department heads over what they thought they needed to encumber from their current operating budget, and we were able to come up with a figure of $156,686 to encumber for the purpose of department expenditures. That leaves us an estimated operating budget balance of $987,061.22. I would recommend that we take $950,000 of the $987, depending on where our expenditures are, and we apply that to the fund balance, which will bring us to $1,275,000 in fund balance, which is 9.7% of the total operating budget. So in a 2-year period of time, we've met the DRA requirements based on our fund balance policy to be in the DRA range, which I think has been really good work by the Budget Committee, the Select Board, Finance Director, and the department heads to really take a close look at their spending plans as we move forward.
Now, for clarity, the fund balance purpose is to,
For emergency situations, it has been used in the past to offset taxation, where you might apply, I'll just throw a number out, $325,000 towards the tax rate to keep the tax rate leveled and not increased. But typically, it's for emergency purchases, emergency situations, and offset in taxation.
so now that we're in the range, we
You
should,
want to stay in the range.
we want to stay in the range, and we should not see a situation where we need to necessarily keep that much in the future.
My goal would to be at about 10.5% of the operating budget in the undesignated fund balance. So we're right in the middle of that range, which is approved by DRA.
I just came from the county budget this morning. We don't have to abide by any range. We don't have to, we chose to, but it's not 9% or 10%, so it's 5, close enough.
I mean, our policy designates 5 to 17% to comply with GASB 54,
Yeah.
the government accounting standard practices. So I would ask that you improve the encumbrances and the information that goes along with it for the 23-24 budget and the encumbrances thereof.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the encumbrance request as outlined for the FY 23-24 budget.
Is there a second?
Can I ask a
You
question?
can surely,
So,
yeah.
You didn't offer that time, you didn't offer discussion.
No,
Well, the
no,
discussion
you
comes
second
out.
it, we'll just,
All right, go ahead.
any discussion? Did you
Oh.
second?
So the 5 to 17%, what is that based on, out of curiosity? What
That's the
determine-
GASB, the
And how do
accounting.
we determine?
It's what we determine is we take our total operating cost, and we want to be able to have a fund balance that represents 5 to 17% of that.
Right, but where did that?
That's designated, well, that's recommended by Department of Revenue Administration
Right.
and the government accounting standard practices.
Okay.
We've been a lot lower than that.
Yes.
Oh, no, I know that. I'm
And we shouldn't be
glad
that, we
we're-
shouldn't be as low as we've
It
been.
is a
No.
little scary.
And our goal last year, when we implemented our fund balance policy, was to try to get there within 3 to 5 years, and we've made it there in our second year.
I just wasn't sure it's a 5%, you know, if you wanted to keep 5%, that's based on, not based on, but giving you an area to work with. You know, we fall within this criteria, we should keep 5%, but then there's this other criteria that says 17 or somewhere in between.
There isn't, I mean, my work,
Guideline, I guess.
when I was at New Hampshire Municipal Association Property Liability Trust, most towns would try to keep between 8 and 12.
Okay.
And where if we can get to 10, 10.5, I think we're in a very good place.
Did you second, by the way?
Me?
She did
Yeah.
not.
Yes. Oh, I thought I did.
You,
I'll
no, you were
second.
gonna.
I was too busy.
Is there any further discussion?
I'm good.
So seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Let's have it. Okay, next item, review and accept unanticipated funds in the amount of $5,251 and approve the funds as prepayment towards the highway sweeper needs within the FY 24-25 budget and allocate these funds as being deferred revenue for the upcoming, or for the coming year. And we had that discussion several meetings ago. And decided that this would be the best way to proceed with the sweeper.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the unanticipated funds in the amount of $5,251 and approve those as prepayment towards the highway sweeper needs within the FY 24-25 budget, and allocate these funds as being deferred revenue for the upcoming year.
Do you need, there's no signing thing, but are you just like looking at, there's nothing to sign?
Showing,
I'm sorry, what was?
There's nothing to sign on this document.
Yeah,
No, it's just making a motion in the second and then pass it, and I'll record that with the
Okay.
minutes.
all right. So we have a motion, and you just seconded, right?
I did.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Now we have the giant signature file.
So
See it down there.
we have a signature file.
Pile.
The good news is all of the abatements are completed. There are about 62 abatements there. We can do a couple different things. We can do the approved abatements tonight because they have to be completed by July 1st. Those that aren't completed by July 1st go into denial, and you can do the denial batch on July 8th at the meeting. So I will leave that up to you if you want to do the 29 approvals and go through those, as well as an intent to cut timber. Your choice on how you'd like to proceed.
I would opt for the denials only.
See, I would
Yeah.
sign the denials, see where we're at. Maybe we go really fast.
I didn't think we had the option of going with the denials first. We had to
Just
do
the-
Denials, no, you really should do the acceptance first
Okay,
because
then the
those
acceptance
acceptance
first.
have to be done by July 1st.
unless you want to
I'd
spend
that.
extra time here
Why don't we do the 29 approvals?
first, and then
Tonight.
then we'll see how we
July
feel.
That's,
I'll be out July 8th anyway, so.
I don't know
so
if
we
we have
should wait till
consensus
July.
on
No, 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 no.
Oh, all right.
The first thing we have here is a intent to cut from Brian Young out on, what's the address? Out on Loon Lake.
Yeah, he has property on Loon Lake Road.
Yeah, so this is an intent to cut for Brian Young.
I'll keep the pile down here when we're done.
You do that.
Not cutting much.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
You're gonna watch us online?
I will, actually. I
Exactly.
always watch the select board meetings online. After, I always do. It's important to be informed.
Here you go.
So the first abatement approval is for 88 Chason Road, Austin Pace. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from 482,200 to 458,600. I think there's two places
Oh, there's two
for
of
a
'em.
signature, yes. The second one we have in front of us is for Ween Realty LLC, showing an address of 8 Palomino Place. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $270,000 to $244,000.
Do you know where Palomino Place is?
I don't off the top of my head, Neil. The next one to come in front of you is 71 Adams Road, Michael LaTulip. An inspection occurred on October 27, 23. After making the corrections, the assessed value would be $254,900. And that is coming down from $256,200 to $254,900. The next one to come in front of you is 8 Ledgeview Way, Michael Barrera Trust. The unit is constructed on a crawl space, while many others in the development are built on foundations. In order to compensate for that factor, an additional 5% of functional depreciation has been added to the total depreciation. In view is good rather than previous rating of very good. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $443,900 to $390,000. And the next one to come in front of you is 277 Texas Hill Road, 276 Texas Hill Road, Plummer Family Revocable 2003 Trust. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the differences of assessed value of $267,680 down to $248,980. And there is 4 signatures on that one for the 2 different properties.
I'd like to move that Mary Ann take longer than 1/4 second to sign the document.
Second.
Uh-oh, I think we got a motion and a second.
No pressure.
What do we do here?
Pressure.
On the bottom.
Bottom. The next
Actually,
one
do it in an eighth of a
is
second, not 1/4 of a second.
5 to 7 Route 25 TLC Zupa LLC. In consideration of the appraisal and the necessary data corrections, it is recommended that the abatement be granted based on a difference of the assessed value from $928,400 down to $793,100.
Jesus, would you come on?
Pressure.
Is it correct?
I have to check the numbers.
Oops.
Next one is 152 Thurlow Street, Julie Phipps. On June 5th, an interior inspection was conducted. During the inspection, it was confirmed that the sketch needed to be corrected, and based on that, it is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $300,800 to $297,500. Next one is 36 Carpenter Park Road, Jay Mayhew. Abatement application contained information of a half bathroom that is no longer on the property. During the inspection, it was confirmed that the half bathroom was removed, and there is an area of the mobile home that is blocked off with no heat, flooring, or final finish. Based on this, it is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $45,100 down to $43,200. The next one is 109 Ledgeside Lane, Sally A. Bowes, Melissa E. Bowes, and Matthew W. Bowes. The application contains information regarding their land in comparison to their neighbors and the cost of building compared to the same neighbors. Data listed on the property record card was accurate. However, the taxpayer notes that the view from their property was obstructed more than the properties further down the street. The property at 107 Ledgeside Lane is not oriented in the same direction. Based on this, it is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $507,080 to $484,380. Next one will come in front of you is 127 A and B Highland Street, Gilbert and Cardella, Sutcliffe. Abatement application contained information regarding incorrect data listed on the property record card based on an appraisal that was performed by a lender. The property had an entire garage with an accessory dwelling unit built in 2020, but never had an interior inspection. On June 5th, an inspection of the property was made. Dimensions of the finished space needed to be corrected, as did an area that was previously listed as finished space that is actually a continuation of the garage. Based on this, it is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $414,900 to $390,000.
Excuse me.
Next one is 7 Thurlow Street, Patricia Robin. Abatement application contained information regarding the basement area of the home and attic area. On June 19th, an inspection was done. There were multiple areas of the property record card to correct, including the sketch and the overall quality. Based on depreciation, it is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $288,100 down to $280,800.
Quite certain there's like a running total of all these, modifications, the changes. It'd be interesting that everything's done.
The next one is 761 Texas Hill Road, Rebecca Labby. During the inspection, it was confirmed that the condition of the property has been overstated since no interior inspection has been completed in many years. The mobile home itself sustained damage during transport several years ago and did not get properly repaired at the time. There are deficiencies with water damage and other areas in need of repair. The mobile home is in fair condition, and the assessment should reflect that damage. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $129,204 down to $102,904.
What's our count?
I don't know, I'm not counting.
It's kind of getting there.
The next one we have is 13 Dodge Road, Paul Schubert and Lorraine Hannah Schubert. It was apparent that the unit is constructed on a crawl space. Many others in the development are built on the same foundation. And with regards to this, an additional 5% functional depreciation has been added to the total depreciation. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $407,200 to $388,100. The next five that you'll have coming in front of you are all related to Plaza Village. First one is 18 Plaza Village, JAS Condo LLC. With several abatements filed and upon further review of the entire Plaza Village complex, a market adjustment of minus 20% is necessary to apply to the complex. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $138,900 to $111,100. The next one is 32 Plaza Village, Tina Marie Burho. Same situation applies. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value of $126,700 down to $101,300. The next one, 33 Plaza Village, Richard Moses Jr. Same situation applies. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $141,200 down to $113,000. Next one, 21 Plaza Village, Deborah Stewart Trust of 1991. Same situation applies. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $143,100 down to $114,500. And the last one for Plaza Village is 33 Plaza Village, Richard P. Girard. Same situation applies. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of assessed value from $140,400 to $112,300.
Slow down. Took me like 10 seconds to do that.
The next group that you'll have coming in front of you is from Tenny Mountain Condos. The first one is 40 Davis Road, Unit J3, Kenneth Willis Jr. The majority of the condominium appears to be in average condition for its age. An additional 5% depreciation has been added to the total physical depreciation. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value of $241,700 down to $228,900. Next one is 28 Eagles Nest Road. Same situation applies, is that description of the view is average and it's in good rating. There was a visit completed to verify the facts. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $501,800 down to $458,000. Next one is 12 Rocky Point Road, Jeremiah Lampson. After completing the site visit, it was determined the view is good rather than previous very good rating. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $525,600 down to $483,700. The next one is 14 Dodge Road, Robert and Patricia Richard. Reviewing the abatement request, it was apparent that this unit is constructed on a crawl space. Many others in the development are built on the same foundation. In order to compensate for that factor, an additional 5% functional depreciation has been added to the total depreciation. It is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $461,500 down to $398,100. The next one is 49 Tenny Brook Road, Laura McDonough, 2011 Trust. An inspection of the property was conducted. Inspection, it was confirmed that the condition of the property was slightly overstated as no interior inspection had been completed for many years. However, there is some settling and bowing of the defunct heating units that added further depreciation. The unit overall is more in line with average fare for its age rather than average. It is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $246,100 down to $233,600. Next one is 24 Eagles Nest Road, Jeriziah and Sarah Rocap. It was determined that best description of the view is average rather than the previous good rating. It is recommended based on that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $486,400 down to $465,600.
Kind of naive, but is there a view tax?
Excuse me?
We don't have a view tax. We do?
Well, it pertains to the value.
Value.
Well, and I know that. In fact, it's like I was thinking it's like Meredith or something like that. Really skewers people on view tax, but Holiness does too.
Right.
But I didn't think we had the same kind of.
Next is 12 Dodge Road, Anthony and Masha Anazalone. It was apparent that this unit is constructed on a crawl space, while many others in the development are built on a foundation. In average condition for its age, an additional 5% functional depreciation has been added to the total depreciation. It is described as good rather than previous very good rating. It is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $464,800 down to $408,300. Next one is 42 Eagles Nest Road. It was determined that the best description of the view is good rather than previously very good rating. Quality of construction rating is better described as C- rather than C, given the overall quality and materials. It is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $526,600 down to $436,400. Next one is 40 Davis Road, Unit J4, Janine Boulanger. It's apparent that the physical factors that affect the crawl space and supported structures is average condition for its age. An additional 5% depreciation has been added to the total physical depreciation. It is recommended that the abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $244,500 down to $232,300. The next one is 40 Davis Road, Unit J5, Cheryl Keith. There are physical factors that affect crawl space and supported structures. Its average and condition for its age. An additional 5% depreciation has been added to the total physical depreciation. It is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value from $238,100 down to $226,200.
My great-grandfather was Orrin B. Davis. He lived on Davis Road.
Next one is 16 Rocky Point Road, Peter Northhausen. It was determined that best description of the view is good rather than previously very good rating. It is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value of $557,500 to $513,100. Next one is 11 Rocky Point Road, Christopher Long. It was apparent that the unit is constructed on a crawl space, while many others in the development are built on a foundation. An additional 5% functional depreciation has been added to the total depreciation. Additionally, a site visit determined that the best description of the view is good, rather than previously stated very good. It is recommended that an abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value of $439,200 down to $386,100.
Do we have to unclip these? Sign them?
Next one is 20 Rocky Point Road, Leonard and Pauline Rivieri. It was apparent that the unit is constructed in a crawl space, while many others are built on foundation. As others have stated, a 5% functional depreciation has been added to the total depreciation. It is recommended that abatement be granted based on the difference of the assessed value of $403,500 down to $386,200.
Good clip, yeah, chip clip.
The last batch that I think we should do tonight is denials, but subject to inspection. The first one we have is 310 Reservoir Road, Gabe Fagan and Bryn Brotzman. The taxpayers assert that market data indicates the property is disproportionately assessed. A component of the value cannot be considered independent to the total value. After attempting appointments to visit the property, no such appointment was scheduled to verify all the data on the property record card. It is recommended that an abatement be denied and the assessed value of $585,800 be sustained. On the letter that will go to the property owner, it will continuously state, without a property visit, no data can be verified, as such a denial is recommended. Should an appointment for an interior and exterior inspection to verify all property data be made before August 1st, 2024, with evidence of corrections, the assessor may reconsider the abatement status recommended. We had 2 of those, and the second one is One Point of View Drive, SJD SRD Properties Incorporated. The same history to that piece of property. It is recommended that the abatement be denied and the assessed value be $1,064,900 be sustained. And again, a note to the property owner, without a property visit, no data can be verified, as such a denial is recommended. Should an appointment for an interior or exterior inspection to verify all property data be made before August 1st, 2024, with evidence of corrections, the assessor may reconsider the abatement status recommendation. Those are all that we have tonight, other than going to approve the denials at your July 8th meeting.
Thank you, Scott.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann, for preparing that for me.
A lot of paper.
A lot of people.
That was done.
Okay. We have committee reports. Mary Ann,
Oh, I missed last week's.
what was that?
I missed last week. It was on the cruise.
Oh,
I suppose I could have called it.
Neil, planning board?
Thursday, June 20th, summer solstice, planning board meeting at Pease Library. We approved the June 3rd and 6th minutes. There was an announcement that there would be a celebration at the Walter Newton for Gigi and Paul Estes, the naming of the bridge by Rainbow Falls, which I understand was well attended despite the bad weather.
It was like 35, 40 people there.
Yeah, you know, the weather reports were really a little bit frightening, but we didn't get it as bad as they did in Manchester down there. Then we had a discussion regarding the application for a Phase 2 grant for the housing application. They call it the HOP, and that was approved by motion to apply for the second round. And then it was announced that the Lakes Region Planning Commission has a new director, Shannon Saunders. And they're going to have, Lakes Region Planning Commission is going to work on a master plan including bicycles and pedestrians in the Lakes region. So that would probably include Plymouth. The new subdivision regulations for Plymouth are ready to be signed. The first public hearing regarded proposal by Martha Swats, owner of Comfort Keepers on Yetton Road, and she asked for a waiver and to preserve her deposit and eliminate the residential aspect. She wants to make a change in her application. She wants to downsize her application. So we had a motion to extend her application for 65 days, which passed. And so the public hearing will continue until the July meeting. And then we had a public hearing for Mountain View Farms, Bico LLC. They had requested to remove sidewalks, and they changed that request and plan to install as the original plan showed. So their original motion to withdraw that request was passed. And that's all I can report on what happened that night.
Thank you. Campus Community Council,
No report.
Plymouth School District,
On hiatus until, I think, August.
what do you know? Conservation Commission.
Conservation Commission did meet on 6/18. There was some discussion about the money to be returned to the town for the Oxbow project easement. They are waiting for the lawyers to settle the final disposition before determining how much they're going to give it back. They approved their new bylaws with minor spelling edits. And they moved one set of items around to move it to the top of the document. There was a discussion on Ina's class presentation. Basically, each year she has a class of students work on something with GIS, and they did a presentation. They had, I believe, some attendance from the board and parents, but very little else. But that was apparently still good attendance because the room was relatively full. They did have some additional information on the Oxbow project. Not a lot of updates, but there was some discussion about why Plymouth wants to hold the easement. It's based on they want to be able to hold certain accountabilities, especially considering that the field is currently hayed by a town of Plymouth resident. They wanted to make sure that continues. Additionally, they want to make sure that continues as open space being maintained as a field, but do not want there to be a cost to, they don't want it to be required. So there's a cost if, once the current person stops paying at some point in the future.
Getting back to that, so regarding the Oxbow, no, Holderness was supposed to pay into this as well?
Yep.
Okay. I noticed on the select board that they were having an item to do that, but,
I don't have the level of detail in
Yeah,
my
okay.
notes. But, I think there were parts of that we, the town of Plymouth Conservation Commission, agreed to pay. And the rest of it is on the town of Holderness. Let's see. Trails Committee did report out about the bridge dedication, which occurred on Sunday at 3 p.m. at the bridge. Gigi was there with some of her family members, and it was well attended by members of the Conservation Commission, and there's a lot of people there. For a rainy day, like you said, it was well attended.
I saw the videos.
Oh, okay. It was a fairly quick thing. We were expecting some inclement weather to be moving in, so I did take some pictures of the symbol if anybody's, the placard, if anybody's interested afterwards. Their communication, they talked about putting the dedication up on their Facebook page. They sent a message via Ted to all select board members to invite them to the dedication. They talked about a pollinator post. They did have a report out from the planning board about the Yetton property and the Mountain View sidewalks property. They did report out on the Smith Bridge Road Hotel about specifically that the people who are planning to do it did make adjustments to drainage in their plan. They did talk about the NRI. And there was some discussion about how to get word out about it, and I suggested that they come to the select board and do something informative, similar to what the Energy Commission does. So pick a topic, come here, talk about it, and so that way they can start building some public awareness around what an NRI is, what it does for the community, etc. And that concludes my report on the Conservation Commission.
Capital Improvement, Lakes Region Planning Commission. I went to the annual meeting and met the new executive director. And they're also going to bring on a new TAC person, so that, they would accompany or be there at the TAC meetings for road applications. And we were informed again, in fact, I think I had a conversation with Joseph as well, that they're not going to be taking on any more new roads to consider. I know Joseph had a question about whether or not they, are going to be doing older roads as well, older requests, and that's not going to happen. So, welcome. You just been appointed, by the way.
Just what?
You missed your appointment.
I did?
Yeah.
What time did you start?
5 o'clock.
Oh, I thought it was at 6:30.
No.
You're all approved.
You're all set.
Yep.
6:30 is
Great job.
planning board.
And 5 o'clock is select board. Oh, what did I say? Oh.
That's all right, you can
You want to ask me
stay.
any questions?
No, I'm very pleased that you applied and you're accepted as an alternate, and
Yeah.
it's going to be good for the town.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just need to make an appointment to be sworn in, right?
Correct.
She'll call you.
They'll call me? Okay, great. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
That was pretty much for Lakes Region. And Parks and Rec.
There has been no announcement of a meeting yet.
They have
Typically, they have it in
August.
sometime in early August.
Lisa told me the date the other night. That
Oh, she didn't tell
She
me
was
that.
going to communicate it to you. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'll have to give her a hard time.
It's at Mark McGlone's house,
Yeah, that's a good place to have it.
August 5th, maybe?
I'll check my Gmail and see. what
Okay.
happens.
Parking Committee,
No scheduled meeting at the moment.
Energy Commission. We already have an update on the fact that a lot of the heavy stuff has been put out there, and now there was at least 2 full solar arrays that were put out there. And I was talking to the developer, and he said once they start going up, they're just gonna fly. So,
Cool.
yep. And, no, never mind. Okay. Advisory budget, no. PSU negotiations. Chamber of Commerce,
Nope, this is the meeting last week.
Burlack. So we have VRAP, Volunteer River Assessment Program, phew. That's happening tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And also we have the monthly meeting tomorrow at 6:30 at the
Libraries Association?
yeah.
Here.
What?
Do they hold it up here, or do they hold it at?
No, it's going to be at the Young Ladies Library Association room at the library tomorrow night at 6:30. That's it. Police and fire, building.
Did we schedule another meeting, Scott?
We
I
didn't. We're
can't-
waiting
okay.
for the feasibility
right.
study to come back from Turner Group.
Right, sorry.
Yep.
And union negotiations, is it, so we're gonna have 3 different unions that we'll be negotiating with then?
We'll have 2 unions that we're negotiating with. We'll have the local police union, the ASFI union, and then we'll have the fire department through the Professional Firefighters of New Hampshire. It will take them up to 2 years to get the approval from the International Association of Firefighters, so we'll have the 2.
Okay. All right.
Eventually.
Any public comments?
Let's see, Frank.
In that case, we don't have anything for non-public, and, all
Motion to adjourn.
right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, crap, never mind.
Too late.
Yep.
Thank you.